So we thought we'd make this video today to just go over exactly what you need in order to take your dog or your pet to Europe. As things have changed recently since Brexit, and all the conflicting information can be a bit confusing, so we thought we'd try and clarify it.
Yeah, so we've been travelling for over 7 months now. This is our second time coming back into Europe this year, and we are staying for over 7 months, 8 months on this one trip. So there's a few different things that we needed that we thought we'd try and clear up.
So after the 1st of January 2021, if you didn't already have an EU pet passport, these are the steps that you will need to take to get your pet to Europe.
So one of the first points is you need to make sure your dog is microchipped. I think by UK law anyway, your pet should be microchipped anyway, but it's just the same microchip everywhere in Europe. So they all have the same scanner everywhere in the UK and Europe to be able to read that.
So the second thing you'll need is a rabies vaccine. So these last for 3 years, and you have to wait at least 21 days to travel after the vaccine. So you need to make sure that you get that within plenty of time of when you're travelling, and we would suggest getting it at least a month before you travel, just to be on the safe side. Yeah,
as it lasts 3 years, you can get it done now if you plan on travelling in 6 months' time, a year's time. So yeah, just get one now and then it's recorded then.
So the third thing that you will need is an animal health certificate. So as we said before, if you don't already have an EU pet passport, this is the new paperwork since Brexit that you need to get your pet to Europe. So this is basically what an animal health certificate looks like, and it's expensive for what it is. So it's just 12 pages of different information. You are supposed to get the animal health certificate for the first country that you're entering in. Like, there's different versions, so we've got the English and French version here because France is always the first country that we've gone to, and it basically just records information. So it has your own personal information on it, and it has information about the pet as well. So it has things like their microchip number, it records their rabies vaccine information,
loads of other random stuff.
Yeah, and loads of other random information really. But yeah, the price of these can vary a lot, so the best thing for you to do is just go round a few different vets in your area to try and find the best price, because when we were first getting one of these, we had loads of different quotes.
Yeah, so you don't need to get it at your own vets. You can go to any vets to get them, so it doesn't have to be a specific one you're a member of already.
Yeah.
So we've now purchased 2 animal health certificates for Lottie. So the first one we paid £175 for. That was with Pets at Home. That was like 6 months ago, back when travel had just started and people hadn't really done the animal health certificates too much. So I think they are coming down in price now. Now vets are getting used to them. So the second one we got was from Abbywell Vets, and they are in Folkestone, near the Eurotunnel, and we paid only £99 for that one. And because she'd already had a animal health certificate, I think it was a little bit cheaper. So we just sent them copies of her first one online, and then as the day before we got the Eurotunnel, we just went down and picked it up, and they just had to quickly scan Lottie. But if you do want some more information on that, just leave us a comment underneath and we'll just speak to you and give you a bit more information, or just contact us on Instagram. I'll put our Instagram here, just drop us a message on there.
Yeah, so Abbywell Vets are a really reliable source to get your animal health certificates from, because I'm part of an animal health certificate Facebook group, so I'll also link that in the description because it's really, really helpful to be part of that group. And I saw hundreds and hundreds of people saying that they got their animal health certificate from Abbywell, so that's where I got the idea to contact them from. Leave the link to the Facebook group in the description so you can check that out. So there's some really specific requirements for the animal health certificate as well. I think it's because it's new paperwork, they're really fussy about what needs to be done, so you need to make sure that every page is stamped and signed by the vet. And there's some other requirements as well that you just need to check that the vet's done. So within the Facebook group, there's a document in there that lists like all the things you need to check that they've done. And also I think on the Eurotunnel website as well, they also have a page about it, what to make sure the paperwork's correct before you go. So we'll link those in the description as well, so you can just check those out as well. So the animal health certificate, you have to get this no later than 10 days before you're going to travel. So you need to get it within 10 days and 24 hours before you travel. So make sure that you book that in advance with your vet or whichever vet you're going to go to. So make sure you've got that planned in, because you've only got between 10 and 1 days to get that paperwork before you travel. So the animal health certificates, they only last for 4 months. So obviously for people like us who are travelling for longer than that and doing multiple trips to Europe, because they're really expensive, the price really adds up if you're going to have to buy one each time you go to Europe, there is another option.
Yes, so there is another option. You can still get a European pet passport. This can only be issued in Europe, so you can't get them in the UK anymore, obviously, because we're not in Europe. Yeah, as we're travelling for longer than 4 months, we needed one of these, as we couldn't get back to the UK to get an animal health certificate, so we needed something that recorded Lottie's details in to travel. So we got this in Germany.
Yeah, so we picked this up in Germany. So we knew we wanted to get one because we knew we wanted to travel for longer than 4 months without having to go back to the UK to get another animal health certificate. So when we were in Germany, we looked for vets in the area that we were in, and we tried several different ones, and we managed to find a vet that was willing to give us an EU pet passport. So we took our animal health certificate with us, and they just looked over all of that information. They gave Lottie a health check, and then they were happy to give us an EU pet passport, and it cost us €19.50 for this.
So it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper.
There's a big price difference. We were a bit concerned about the fact that obviously they don't issue these in the UK anymore, so would we be okay having one, and the fact that obviously we don't have an EU address. So our UK address is recorded in this. They just copied it over from the animal health certificate, but we've spoken to a couple of other van lifers who travel with their dogs, and we've done various bits of research, and it doesn't seem that that's an issue. Fingers crossed everything will be okay with that.
And it seems to be working so far, so we've used it a few times and it's all okay.
So another thing you need to be aware of is, if you get an EU pet passport, a UK vet cannot record anything in this. It makes it invalid if they do, because obviously we're not in the EU anymore, so the UK vets aren't supposed to touch this.
So this is only for Europe. This is only for when the dog is in Europe or your pet's in Europe.
So one thing that we did have to do when we got this, obviously Lottie already had a rabies vaccination, otherwise she wouldn't have been able to come to Europe anyway, but her rabies vaccination was administered in the UK. The vet that gave us this, they couldn't just copy the information over from her rabies vaccine, because obviously it was administered in the UK and they're not able to do that. So one thing we did have to do was go and get Lottie a new rabies vaccination, and we got that in Germany also. That cost us around about £65, and again that lasts for 3 years. So now we have a rabies vaccination recorded in here, which has been administered by an EU vet. So if you are planning to get one of these, the best thing to do to be on the safe side is to also get a rabies vaccine for your pet as well, administered in the EU. That's the best thing to do.
So the vet did say there was no harm. We showed her that she'd already had a rabies vaccine, and they said there was no harm in that she's got another one. Yeah,
because obviously hers hadn't expired yet. She still had a couple of years, but they said that's not harmful to the dog. So if you're worried about that, we've had confirmation from the vet that it's not harmful for them to have one before the other one expires. So yeah, the rabies vaccine lasts for 3 years. So if we plan to carry on travelling for any longer than that, and the rabies vaccine is going to expire and we need to get it done again, we will need to come back to Germany to get that done again. And the EU pet passports, they last the pet's lifetime. They're not like the animal health certificate that runs out after 4 months. These last the pet's lifetime as long as you keep their rabies vaccination up to date.
So the reason we went to Germany is we had heard a few different rumours from a few different people that France, and especially the northern part of France, are cracking down in giving UK citizens the pet passport. Due to it being so close to England and so many people coming that way, I think the vets were just getting fluctuated with people trying to get these after Brexit. So they have been clamping down on it. So that's why we went a bit further across. We went to Germany, and yeah, we got it perfectly fine. So if you are trying to get, probably it's best to try and go to somewhere, maybe Spain or Germany, and you'll have better luck in getting one.
So yeah, the 3 main things that you're going to need to take your dog or your pet to Europe. So you're going to need to make sure that they're microchipped. Another thing to be aware of as well actually is to make sure that the date of the microchip is before the date of the rabies vaccination. So you need to make sure on your animal health certificate that the date of the microchip is recorded before the rabies vaccine, otherwise it'll be invalid. Second thing you need to make sure you've got is their rabies vaccine, and you need to make sure you do that probably about a month before you travel to Europe. And the third thing that you're going to need to get out of the UK to Europe is the animal health certificate. Excuse me.
Sit down.
Yep, you're going to need your animal health certificate. And obviously, once you've got your animal health certificate, if you plan to travel for longer than 4 months or do multiple trips to Europe, then you're going to need an EU pet passport. So another thing you need to be aware of when you're travelling in Europe is that certain countries will require your dog to have a tapeworm treatment. So we had to get Lottie one for when we travelled to Finland and to Norway. So treatment has to be administered by a vet, and it has to be between 1 and 5 days before you enter the country. So this is also the same for when you're going to travel back to the UK. You need to get a tapeworm treatment before you travel back, and again it needs to be between 1 and 5 days before you travel back to the UK. So when we got Lottie's tapeworm treatment to go to Finland, we asked the vet to record it in both her animal health certificate, because that paperwork was still valid at the time, but also we asked them to record it in her EU pet passport as well. Just to make sure that we had it recorded in both, just in case. So that's probably, if you do go about getting an EU pet passport, that's probably a good thing to think about doing. So once you have an EU pet passport, you shouldn't need to buy an animal health certificate again to get out of the UK. So once you've got this is a legal document, so you shouldn't need to get another animal health certificate. So we hope that this video has been helpful and cleared a few things up for you. We tried to put it as simply and clearly as we can, but it's still pretty complicated information, we know it is.
Yeah, we struggled so much at first.
We had to spend so much time researching so much stuff and really stressing about it all. But yeah, if you've got all those things in place that we've mentioned in this video, then you shouldn't need to stress about travelling with your dog. It should be smooth sailing after that. So yeah, as we said, there are a few links that we're going to add in the description of this video to different sources of information that should help. So there's some information about travelling to Europe with your pet on the Gov website, so we'll put that. We have a couple of blog posts about taking your pets to Europe as well, which are a bit more detailed than what we've spoken about today, so we'll link those in the description also. Like I said, I'll put the link to the Animal Health Certificate Facebook group in there as well. That's a really helpful Facebook group. We'll link our Instagram if you want to DM us on there for any more information, and obviously feel free to leave a comment on this video. Also, if you want any more information on anything, we'd be happy to respond to you there too. The information that we've spoken about today is we have only travelled with Lottie by Eurotunnel, so this is specific to Eurotunnel travel. I don't know if ferry travel is any different and you need anything else. Not sure about that because we haven't travelled from the UK to Europe with Lottie on a ferry, so this is Eurotunnel specific.
And we think Eurotunnel is the best way to travel anyway. It's so much easier. If you have got a pet, you don't have to leave them in the van. So the Eurotunnel takes 35 minutes and you stay with your pet the whole time. So it's the easiest way to get to Europe with a pet. It's
a little bit more expensive than the ferry, but for us the time it saves and the fact that you don't have to leave the dog in the van, you can all stay together, it's worth it for us. So that's why we always choose to travel by the Eurotunnel. Yeah, so we hope that you have found this video helpful. Again, if you want to contact us for any more information, then please do feel free. We'll be happy to help. And thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much for watching.